This is the official greeting committee for everyone coming out to feed the goats. It has been raining for several days, and it is extremely wet out here today. I mean, it is a mud boot kind of day, because shoes and even work boots are just not going to cut it. So, the welcoming committee has decided to come out and show me some support. So now I'm going to go get their food all put out and give them a chance to eat and all that good stuff. So goats are getting their breakfast. They're readily all going into the feeding pen as soon as I bring food out for them. So I had intended this past weekend to do some hoof trimming and some worm checking and other good stuff like that, but that plan fell through. Now I think it may be a little bit too muddy, so I think we may have to skip this weekend and kick that on down to the following weekend. But at least we now know we can easily and readily get them into the working pen so that we don't have to chase them across acres and acres and acres. Maybe just chase them across the pen. And for the most part, chickens are being kept out of the goat food, and the goats are being allowed to eat without having to worry about chickens being everywhere and stealing all their food. So last week we got in some new bales of hay. This thing was completely filled up last time we left. These goats have pretty much demolished all the hay we left them. So this is going to have to get completely restocked today. But we'll take care of that. Goats have plenty of forest to feed on. Whenever we come out here, we feed them some goat food. But we also always leave them with as much hay as we can stack up in their little goat shed over here to last them till we get back. And then that little trellis thing right there is, I guess, their strategic hay reserve or something along that line. It looks like they're eating a little bit of their mineral and a little bit of their baking soda. I'm not sure if they're still licking on this salt block or not, but they're apparently using this little goat shed quite a bit given the weather, and given that this is where we've been keeping their hay nice and neat and out of the wet, and any of the hay wastage that ends up on the ground of the goat shed just acts to keep everybody up out of the muck, out of the mud. As you can see right outside, the goat shed is very wet. It's very muddy, but they can get in there. It's dry, it's elevated, it's soft. I'm assuming that hay decomposing and stuff decomposing down in the bottom layers is also probably going to keep that warm. But no complaints so far. So I just got done restocking the goat shed with hay. So all these little 2x4 rails, I just shove hay down between the 2x4 and the plywood that's back behind it, all the way around. And then there's that little rolled up hay holder. It's full of hay. Let me back up. It's full of hay, and I also stuff hay up over the top of it. Goats like to eat over their head, so I try to get as much of this hay poking up the way that they want to eat it as possible. So once the goat shed has been restocked with hay, this is what it looks like. All the little goats are just about done eating their goat food breakfast, so I'm about to let them all loose. This boy goat's gotten to where he likes to be petted. Nobody else still wants to be, to be touched.
Hi, Dad. Want to pet him? Okay. He's very good. Let me see. What are you doing, Dad? I thought you were reading my video. The tree? Yeah. Hi. Hey, Dad. Did you make a video of me holding the chicken? Yeah, do you want to hold her? I'll take the video. This is not the feet. Boys, do not eat it. Oh, he's fluffy on his neck. Go ahead, speak to you again, boy. Good girl. Want to pet him, Johnny? Isn't she soft? It's okay. Hey, Daddy. Be very careful. Dad, you need to get that chicken out of there. I got a chicken. I hear massages. Hey, Johnny. Remember after you're talking and do you feel your neck? There's like a massage.
It's called your voice box. It vibrates to make noise. It's like, how did you get up there?
Johnny tried to catch that one. Okay. Oh no. Don't pet him. He's trying to pet. Johnny, do you want to hold this one for a sec? It's okay. No. I got you. Look what you saw. Oh no. Keep it very steady whether you're coming up. It's not fast. Whoa! No. Come here. I got her. It's okay. It's like, what's happening here? It's okay. I got it. It's okay. Hey, Emily.
So these are a couple of the big baby girls from the house that we have moved out to the land. And it looks like they have retained some bondage through that process, and they're over here licking and grooming each other. So it'll be interesting to see how that changes and develops and so forth. The longer that they stay out at the land, seems like they get a little bit wilder out here, but that's not unexpected. But these have only been out here for a couple of days. They still come up to me to see me and let me pet them. Don't know how much longer that will last. So I'm clearing some more trees out of the front fence line. Sammy and I have been throwing tree trimmings over the fence to the goats. They're digging that. They're chowing down. But that guy, I don't know what he's waiting on. But they've eaten down most of this kind of stuff in their little fenced-in area over here, so we ain't have anything better to do with this stuff than run it through a wood chipper, so might as well throw it over to the goats and let them eat some of it. Alright, show us how it's done, man.
I don't know how people do pole vaulting.
Uh-oh, butterfly must have flown by. They're all scared again now. And fighting. And scared and fighting. Good grief. Goats don't have any sense. These are wolves' babies. They're just days old. Their eyes aren't even open yet. But they are just popping. They're wild. It's like a baby rabbit mosh pit down in there. There's Wolf. They're noisy too. Crazy little baby rabbits.